Hi, everybody. Welcome to Positive Affirmations Tuesday. Today, we're going to talk about the power of change. I think I've talked about this here before. I am not a fan of change. I don't like it. I resist it. Most of the time, I'm kind of forced into change, right? It, just by life events in general. And in my past, I would even stay stuck in really crappy situations because I didn't want to deal with the change of it, right? So, hold on one second. Well, hi, Trish. How are you? How are you? Cute little picture of your kitty that you sent me. Uh, yeah, and specifically, I remember when I was married, uh, towards the middle and the end, I didn't want to be married anymore at all. But I didn't necessarily want to go through a divorce because that sounded painful and it was painful. I just wanted it to, just like vanish. Just like he could just leave and um and the whole marriage could just disappear, like a big bottle of whiteout or something. I didn't want to go through the pain and the struggles and the fighting and screaming and yelling. But of course that's what led to the feelings of wanting a divorce, right? But I've never really much liked change. I don't find it exciting or exhilarating like some people do. I like to kind of find a little comfort zone and kind of bury myself into it. And sometimes like I said, I'll even ignore the things that aren't that perfect because I don't want to deal with changing anything. Kind of maybe like a curmudgeon. Had a lot of friends, especially when I was younger, that would tell me that I was the oldest, like 29-year-old that they ever knew. That was 100 years ago. Oh, they were like, "You're the oldest 29-year-old person I know in the world. Like, you're just so set in your ways." Even when I first got married, my husband and my friends and his friends would like jokingly refer to me as Miss Daisy from Driving Miss Daisy because I was just so set in my ways and it was very mouthy about it and things weren't going to change. I wasn't going to go along with it and I wanted things the way I wanted them and the way things had always been because that was comfortable to me because I didn't grow up with any tradition or stability, right? And I think that played a huge role in it. When you don't grow up with any tradition or stability, that's all you really want. It's funny because you never want what you have or you had. And because I couldn't control anything in my childhood, uh, when I could control things in my life, when I got control of things in my life, when I moved out and had my own place at 18, I was going to control it and things weren't going to change. Things were going to just be very stable and status quo. And it'd be even to the point, and then maybe some of it was my OCD, but when I was younger, and I didn't know this for the longest time, my friends would play jokes on me if I would leave the room. I had these two figurines on each side of my coffee table. Well, hi, Ronnie Lynn. And I would leave the room and somebody would go, "Watch this," and would turn one of the figurines just so slightly. And I'd come back into the room and I'd be talking this and that, and I'd be walking back to my seat and just, I wouldn't even miss a beat. And I would just turn the figurine right back to where it was supposed to go. And I didn't know they were doing it. And everybody would laugh. And it took a long time for me to realize that those people were messing with me. I'm Mary Lou, but I wanted things just so. And boy, change is hard, and it's not just hard for me. Change is hard for a lot of people. Some people love excitement and change and stuff like that. I didn't even like that when I was young. So for a long time, I had, I think one of my first affirmations, um, probably even before I knew that it was an affirmation, was I had a sign in my laundry room that said change is good, because change is good sometimes and change is necessary and change is life. Life is constantly moving. And I mean, I couldn't be like my dear friend Lynn Schroeder, who's spending a year traveling. Her and her husband are just traveling, like a different hotel every 3 or 4 weeks, and um, going to places where they don't speak the native language and they don't have uh, like their own living room and their stuff. And you know what I mean? And that would, what I could never. I could never. Like, I need my stuff. Anybody that knows me knows I've got my things. I like the way they're set up. And I love my things. And I know everything I've got. And I know where everything should be. And I could not exist living like that. But how brave of them, right? How brave. Um, even when they have a little, I mean, can you imagine when you travel, you can't control anything really. And you're really at the mercy of whatever's happening. It's not like you're at home and you can, well, I can't even always control everything at my house, but because I have two crazy dogs. But, uh, even when a little snafu happens, and Lynn will say, oh, yesterday wasn't the best day or whatever, this happened or that happened. And I'll tell her, well, just be patient with yourselves, right? Because you're traveling, you can't control anything, you don't speak the native language, you're not familiar with the areas that you're in. So be patient, cut each other some slack. But then I'll say that's very easy for me to say, right? From the comfort of my own, you know, from the center of my comfort zone in my house, surrounded by my things in my own environment. But she's brave. She's brave. That's something I could never do. I wouldn't want to do. But I admire it in others, you know. Mary Lou says you're right. Change can be a good thing. Change can be a great thing. But most often, change is uncomfortable. Most often, I would say, people don't choose to change something. They're kind of, well, yeah, I'm probably talking about myself. Probably like drug along with it, right? And then later come to find out, oh, thank God that happened. Ronnie Lynn says change scares me, even good change. But I do it anyway. Yeah. I'm trying to understand that there's good change. I mean, I do understand that intellectually, but emotionally, I call bullshit because change just freaks me out. But then there are times in my life when I get really restless and I can sense frustration levels are growing and I've fallen into kind of a doldrum. and I know that I need to change something. Um, and and I kind of been, I've been a little bit guilty of that lately, a little bit in a funk, and I kind of knew that it was coming. And so, today I purposely sat down and I wrote down what are some of the things that I need to change before I get too funky and my frustration level is too high. And change doesn't have to be drastic. It doesn't have to be um, leaving your partner, filing for divorce, um, repainting every room in your house, remodeling, gutting your house, remodeling it, moving to another country. It doesn't have to be drastic. Change can be just little things. Um, Ronnie Lynn says, I agree, Ronnie. Some people are afraid of change and they just won't do it. Yeah, but Mary Lou, they do it. They do it because life will force you to change with events. Life will force you, whether you want to or not. I mean, look at what the pandemic did to people, right? I can't imagine having gone through the pandemic and like, well, maybe I could because I'm a homebody. So except for people dying, I wouldn't care if the government put us on lockdown for the rest of my life. I'm perfectly happy to stay in my house. I love my house. But can you imagine like being in your 20s or in high school during the pandemic, when you're at the height of going out and doing things, and all you want to do is be with your friends, and now you're forced to stay at home. And you would never do that, right? You would never change your life, but you have to. So, uh, people can be afraid of change, um, and they can resist it. Like I resist it often, but then something will happen, and I'm just drug along like it's some kind of Roman chariot race. Only I'm not in the chariot. I'm like hog-tied to the back, being drugged through the arena. It's true. Yeah, well, I mean, Mary Lou says, I've known some people that won't change anything in their lives, even during the pandemic. They've changed. They've changed at some points in their life, Mary Lou. They just didn't like it. They didn't like it. And for some people, change is really hard. People that have OCD, I mean, like the really, really serious OCD where they have to kind of have a schedule and things have to be in their place or they just spiral, right? But at some point in your life, you have to change something whether you like it or not, because maybe you're married and somebody leaves you. Okay, you didn't change, but something changed, and now you've got to deal with it, right? Maybe you love being a mother and having your kids at home, and the kids grow up and they leave, and they can, and you can't change that. Or your dog dies, or your cat dies, or your fish dies, or or the weather, which is unpredictable for everybody right now, right? So changes happen, and you have to roll with it. You have to roll with it. So I don't buy that people won't change no matter what. They have to change. They have to adapt, and adapting is changing. You have to adapt to things that happen that are out of your control. But today, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like for some people that have serious, maybe this is my oldest grandson will not change anything because of his autism. But eventually, Mary Lou, if he's living at home, his parents will die, you will pass on, and he will be forced to deal with a new environment unless his parents are independently wealthy and can buy a home and buy the lives of people who will agree to never, ever, ever, ever change anything in his environment. Things will change for him, but it will set him off and it will unnerve him. But he can't change that because of his autism. He can't change his response to that. It will not be comfortable for him, but it will happen. It will happen unless his parents outlive him, and that isn't natural, right? So change regardless if you have a medical condition, a mental health condition, an emotional health condition, change will happen for everybody. You can throw a fit and bang your head against the wall, but it will happen. And when it's traumatic like that, that just makes the fear of change even harder, right? Maybe says I'm not wealthy and I'll have to change his living arrangements to live with one of his sisters. See, so there is going to be change. And that's realistic. Nobody wants to see him suffer or mentally or emotionally go through that transition because it's going to be hard with autism. But realistically, it's going to happen, right? Marlene says, I too go into change mentally kicking and screaming. But like you say, life is filled with changes daily sometimes, right? Sometimes daily. But today, I'm more talking about, it's important to acknowledge how uncomfortable I think most of us are with major life changes and things that are out of our control. But there are little things that can be changed, that can be powerful, and that you change because you know that the change will be good for you, or it's a safe time or a safe thing to experiment with, right? And those little things that we can change on our own can kind of help us change the way we think about change and kind of take the fear factor out of it. Because I think in life, our lives and our attitudes about things are all based on our own personal experiences, right? Because that's a smart thing to do. It's a smart thing to know that if you put your hand on a hot burner, you're going to get burned. So don't do that. And hopefully not all life experiences are that painful, but good or bad, that's how we kind of form who we are. And so when you can change little things and have a positive experience from changing those little things, I think that you can build those experiences and build new memories and hopefully build a new way of thinking, kind of override some of the negative beliefs. Just for me, change is it's just so scary and it's so unsettling, and I resist it because my instant reaction to change is oh, whoa, no, that's my instant reaction. I know I've got to change that. Because as often as I've said that, no, No way, As often as I've wrapped myself around a pole, and then had to have my fingers have life, like unclench my fingers and take me away from that pole and drag me down the road of life. I haven't been able to stop change if it's coming. I haven't. The only thing I can change is the way I think about it, and the only way I can change that is to try to replace, or at least make more powerful, new memories of change, new experiences of change. If I only have the old memories, then I'm only going to have that reaction to it. So I made a list of things that, like I said, I know I've been sliding into a little bit of a funk, especially maybe like the last week. And I know in the back of my head what it's about, and I'm pretty self-aware, and I know I need to stop giving into it, right? But that's going to require some effort. And the further I slide into a funk, the less effort I want to put into anything. But then I'm only going to slide further into it. And then it's going to be a deeper, darker hole I have to dig myself out of. So, today I made a little list. What needs to change? Not huge. They're not huge things. But you have to kind of acknowledge. If you don't name what needs to be changed or altered just a little bit, you're not going to acknowledge it. I mean, you have to name it, right? So I had to name it, and I wrote it down. I wrote a list because now it's out of my head. And sure, I can throw the list away, but I can't unsee it. I can't unsee the list. So, and it's not a list of chores or anything like that. Trust me, I'm very on top of my chores, if that's what you will. My house is very in order, but there's other things that I need to take care of, that I need to tend to, and I haven't been tending to them. And that has resulted in a change inside that isn't comfy, and it isn't cozy, and I don't like it. And I've been in that place before, and so I'm like, okay, well, it's time. Listen, sis, what you're doing is not working. So it's time to shake up this routine a little bit. We have to change it up just a little bit here. And that kind of change is powerful. And that kind of change, like, we're in charge of, right? And that kind of change we're doing for our own benefit, even if it's a little uncomfortable. Trust me, I like the way I've been feeling lately, but it would be pretty easy just to stay doing what I'm doing. It would be easier than, putting the effort in to go down this list and do the things I know I need to do. But I'm not going to feel better about things unless I go and make these little changes. And then I'll have some control. And then I'll know, you know what? Somewhere in the back of my mind, even, I'll know that when change happens and change is uncomfortable, I'll have some kind of like mental resume that I can look at that goes, yeah, I've done uncomfortable things before. And I've lived through it. I didn't die from it. And life got a little bit better. Life got a little bit easier. And that's where I say that there's a power in change. And I hope, I tell you, the older I get, the more things change all the time. Things change constantly now that I'm older. Physically, the aches and the pains and the just that's like can be daily. Um, vanity wise, new wrinkles, whatever it is. That changes constantly. But the outside world is so fast paced. It's so much faster paced than when I was young. So it's hard to keep up with. There's always something that's new and changing. And as much as I insulate my world, I can't completely keep the outside from coming in, right? So I can't change that. I have to change the way I think about it. Just can't be scared of everything. I'll slide back to like borderline being agoraphobic, where I don't, even want to go out of the house. But never leaving the house doesn't mean that I'm still completely in charge of my environment, that I can completely control it. But I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that person. But change, I find that the older I'm getting, I think when I was a kid, I think there was like this image that when I got, to be the age that I am, things would be really settled, really calm, and there wouldn't be any big life changes, and there wouldn't be any major upsets, and nothing new to learn. I could just kind of, the golden years, I could just kind of kick back, knowing I had, been there and done the things that I wanted to do and the things I wanted to see, and that now I could just pass the torch to the younger generation, and they could be the ones that could just run wild and take over, and I could just kick back. And my golden years don't look anything like what my grandparents looked like at all. Like I said, there's just changes all the time. I mean, technology is such a part of our lives, right? And that's constantly changing. And technology like freaks me out to a big extent. But I had to kind of learn to overcome that, especially when I became a guide. I had to kind of master it to some level, to the best of my ability. And now it's not so scary, but it's still changing all the time, and it's a huge part of my life. Like I feel handicapped if I don't have my cell phone in my hand. It's kind of ridiculous. There's times when I have to go put it in a charger in another room just so I'm not constantly on it. I didn't do that 35 years ago with my landline. My landline wasn't on the armchair of my couch. I didn't have to, completely be dialed in and locked in to my telephone when I was younger. So I mean, true, yeah, my phone has everything in it, right? From banking to I mean, emails to everything. But I don't need to be tied into it. I'll even, like I said, go put it in another room to charge it just to get it away. And I'll find myself like reaching for it. And then like, oh, And I'm like, let it go. Annette, let it go. You don't have to be. You don't have to be on. You don't have to be signed in to the rest of the world 24 hours a day. But that what I'm saying, I couldn't have imagined this 30 years ago because it didn't exist. So my golden years are, I don't think, as relaxing as I thought that they were going to be. I just, you kind of just have to deal with that because the world's changing and you have to go along with it, right? I mean, does anybody else feel that way? That's like my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, that like we're these older years are just are much different than I thought, and I've had to adapt. I had to adapt to them because the world's not going to slow down for me. The world's not going to change for me. But I can't possibly be the only one that feels like, I'm being drug along. It's much different, right? It's much different than what I thought my retired years, I guess, if that's what you want to call them, would be. But like I said, I can't change it. So there's times when I just have to change it for myself. Put the phone someplace else. My tablets stay down in the studio. Sometimes I'll leave the laptop down here. And then I can't get to it. I mean, I could, but I won't. I won't go through that problem. And then it's uncomfortable for me to be disconnected sometimes. But I make myself stay that way. Because I'm like, the rest of the world is on 24/7, right? 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. But I don't have to be on. Hello, Agatha, welcome. But I don't have to be on. But it's uncomfortable. Like I said, that the phone feels like an appendage. We can't find our phone. We panic, right? I panic for sure. And it can't be that far because I don't go anywhere. But I panic because that's like my whole world is in there, right? So sometimes I'll cause myself discomfort and put that phone away someplace else. To try to change the control or that it has over me, or then the need I think I feel sometimes to be connected all the time. It's not really normal. It's not. I don't know. It's not what I grew up with. It doesn't feel normal to me. But because I love my phone, but sometimes I resent my phone. So when I put it away someplace else, because I know that that's what's better for me, even though I'm going to have 57,000 moments of when I reach for it, I'm going to have 57,000 moments of realizing that it's okay. Now just watch your show. You don't have to watch a movie and check your email and respond immediately to everything on Facebook and shop on Amazon and order a delivery from home. You don't have to do all that. It's okay just to sit and be, right? Ronnie Lynn says she used to be really active without any consequences. Now, after a day of running around, like errands and stuff, I'm so achy. Getting used to that was not fun. That's what I mean. The older, like, I find, like, the older I get, every day there's some new revelation. Like, my body is making sure that I know that we are we have entered another dimension, right? Yeah, I used to go, 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 go. I mean, I still kind of go, 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 go. But it's not fun anymore. I mean, I used to go, 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 go out with my girlfriends all the time when I was younger, right? Now it's a big, now going to Walmart is a big outing. And then I'm done, you know? So, things change, whether we like them or not. I don't think anybody really likes getting older. But some of the things that are coming along with that is I do not remember signing up for, right? The aches and the pains and the, you know, wish I had taken better care of my knees and my back, and I wish I had developed better habits about sleeping and eating, and you know, getting older is not for the weak at heart. I'll tell you that right now. You got to be made of some tough stuff to deal with um, with getting older, because like I said, I feel like I'd like every day there's some new revelation. I mean, now I have to sleep with like a pillow between my legs, and if I'm awake every 45 minutes, I gotta turn to the other side because like my hips start aching, and I'm like, what is happening exactly? What is happening? Right? I got heating pads right by the bed, by the chair, a neck thing, because my neck hurts. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? God help me if I don't get enough sleep. That's a whole nother issue. Because it takes me days to recover, right? And so it's look, those changes that come with getting older. We're not going to be able to change that, right? I've realized all I can do. I can't fight getting older. Um, all I can do is make sure, Rylan says she worships aspirin. You make sure you have enough aspirin in the house, and make sure where those heating pads are. Icy hot, right? Icy hot is my new best friend. The neck, it's a travel pillow, right? Something to make you more comfortable during flight. I have to have it watching TV. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So those things, we can't change. Can't change the fact that the body is tired. It's entering a period where it needs more rest. It needs more comfort. The only thing we can do is change. I certainly didn't have a heating pad next to my bed or my chair in my 20s, but I've changed that, So there are little changes that we can make that are powerful and that benefit us, you know. Um, and the biggest things are just when we need to acknowledge that we do need to change. If you have been in a funk, what is something small that you can change? Something small that won't break the bank, that will make you feel better, you know. Or do you live someplace where you have the ability to have it doesn't have to be like a flower bed, but they have those planters, those like rectangle elongated planters. Do you live someplace where you can get a planter and a small bag of soil and buy some flowers and put it outside your patio or your kitchen window? Do you have that capability? Are you too wrapped up in TV or on your phone? Is it, can you order some books? I just ordered a bunch of books online through the secondhand bookstore. I don't know when I'll get around to reading them, but now they're there. Little things like incense make me feel better. Having candles lit every night make me feel better. I can't afford, has anybody seen the prices of candles lately? Outrageous. I can't afford that kind of extravagance. But I can afford the candles at Dollar Tree that are vanilla and still smell the way I like. I can afford those. And it makes me feel better. And I know that. Because I know when I don't light them, I just don't feel as good. I like the ambiance of it. I like the coziness of it. Um, I kind of like the simplicity of it. And it makes me feel good when I can look around my home and see that I did, just subconsciously, like I consciously go, oh, there you go, you are taking care of yourself. But subconsciously, I know that I've got my back. That the things that make me comfortable are important to me, and that I make an effort and I do that, and that makes that ups my knowledge that I value myself, right? Those are easy changes that I can make. Just to aesthetically be able to look around and know that I'm doing things that make me feel better. I made an effort to do those. I don't just say I like books or I like candles. I do like books. I do like candles, but I make sure that I have them too. Same thing with plants, right? It's important, and it's important to acknowledge, and it's important to make an effort. So if there is some part of you that is going through a little funk or could use a little change, just start with a little change that, like I said, doesn't break the bank, but it's a little change that will brighten your day or your evening. And again, that makes the little cheerleader inside of all of us that wants to believe that change is good, right? We all want to believe that. But most of the time change is uncomfortable. But when you make little changes like that little cheerleader for change inside of you goes, yay. And you start to build better experiences, better past experiences with change, right? And there's something all of us can do. Maybe it's even dedicating a night a week to yourself to take a bubble bath and just get in there and relieve those aches and pains for a while. And that's your night. Sometimes sometimes the power of change can be just a little change. Because it doesn't have to be life altering. You don't have to gut the house. You don't have to sell everything you own and buy an RV and travel around the country. There's little things that you can change daily that just makes you feel better. Ryan says, yes, making your place feel homey gives you a haven in the midst of stress, and music does that for her, right? So sometimes if you're feeling in a funk, you might just need to change things up. You might need a return or remembrance or a reunification of the things that bring you joy. You kind of have to change what you're doing if you're starting to feel a little bit funky. Right? All right, I'm going do a reading. Well, I actually had 3 different readings. So let me find one. Oh boy, where is it? Because I can't believe we're almost already at time. Okay, here's one. This is from our girlfriend Shakti Gawain, from Awakening, a Daily Guide to Conscious Living. You know, I love her. And this one is entitled Facing Change and Growth. Every one of us has a part that wants to change and grow. That part of us is willing to do whatever it takes to become conscious. On the other hand, we all have a part that's afraid of change. This is a conservative aspect of our psyches that wants to protect us from unknown dangers. This part figures that because we've survived so far, it's safer to continue doing things exactly as we've been doing them, rather than to risk real change. Both of these aspects of self-need need to be respected. One of them inspires growth and carries us forward. The other one keeps us from moving too fast and becoming disoriented or overwhelmed. Sometimes it may feel like a tug of war inside. The trick is to honor both these parts and find a balanced pace of growth that they both can live with. And the affirmation is, I'm growing and changing at a pace that's comfortable and exciting for me. It is important to acknowledge and to respect the parts of you that want to stay rooted because they kept you safe. It's really important to respect and honor that a lot of the parts of your personality have kept you safe and have helped you persevere through some really hard times. But it's also really important to respect and honor the other part of yourself that's really capable of not just handling and overcoming change, but of initiating it for your own good. It's important to honor that part too. So you're not a weakling, that you're a survivor and that you're a very capable person. You have to honor both. So I like that reading because it acknowledges that you have to respect and honor both, and then grow and change at a pace that's comfortable for both of those sides of yourself. The side of yourself that is an adventurer and more of a risk taker, and then the side of yourself that is more steadfast and unyielding, right? But change is scary because you don't know. You just don't know. And it usually requires some effort, and you just don't know how you're going to feel. And so this next reading is from Melody Beatty, A Journey to the Heart, and it's titled, It's Okay to Not Know. Sometimes we don't know what we want, what's next, or what we think our lives will look like down the road. That's okay. If the answer is, I don't know, then say it. Say it clearly and be at peace with not knowing. Sometimes the reason we don't know is that what's coming is going to be very different from anything we've experienced before. Even if we knew, we couldn't relate to it because it's that new and it's that different. It's a surprise. Sometimes the reason we don't know is that it would be too difficult, too confusing for us right now. It would take us out of the present moment and cause us to worry and fuss about how we could control it or what we have to do to make it happen. Knowing would make us afraid, put us on overload, take us away from now. Sometimes our souls know, but it's just not time for our conscious minds to know yet. Sometimes knowing the very experience we need to go through to discover the answer we're looking for. And sometimes the process of learning to trust, the process of going through an experience and coming to trust that we will ultimately discover our own truth is more important than knowing. And the affirmation says the process of moving from what we don't know to what we are to learn is a process that can be trusted. It's how we grow and change. It's okay not to know. It's okay to let ourselves move into knowing it. The lesson is trusting that we'll know when it's time. Right? And that's what most of us are afraid of. And that's what most of us worry about. It's literally the fear of the unknown. It could be worse. It could be better. I don't know what it's going to take to go through it. I don't know if I want to go through it because I don't know what's on the other side. Right? It's generally fear of the unknown. So, Ronnie Lynn, I see a thumbs up and a heart from you, so that's good. It resonated with you. Let's take a look at our cards for today. This one, I like these little ones, again, because it usually has a question, gives you some kind of food for thought, and the other side is your affirmation. And this one says, what one action can I take today so that I sleep with less worry or regret? Worry and regret are soul sisters. They're born from the same mother. Regret is worrying about the past that you can't change, and worry is fear of the future that you can't see. So worry and regret, they're the same. They're the same thing. It's just one is looking back, which don't do that. You're not going that way. Don't look backwards. You're not going that way. The other one is the fear of the future. Okay, so again, what one action, what one thing can I do today so that I sleep with less worry or regret? And then the affirmation on the back says, I am at peace. Because you're going to feel more peaceful if you put away a worry or a regret, right? You're going to feel better. Of course you are. Okay. And this one is always hard to figure out. This one says, I am willing to change. Okay, I'm willing to change. And the other side says, I'm willing to release old negative beliefs. They're only thoughts that stand in my way. My new thoughts are positive and fulfilling. Okay. So I hope that you all can find one thing that you can do today, one small thing you can do today, one small change that you can do today that will make you feel better and more that you have self-value and that you have self-worth. Maybe it's, pulling a nice steak out of the freezer and defrosting it and marinating it and making yourself a nice dinner just because. What's one thing you can change today to make today more fulfilling for you? Because it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing at all. Okay? Thank you for joining me today. I hope that it was good for you. If you liked it, please like it. Please like the video. If you like it and you want to come back every week and you want to get notified, subscribe to the channel. Okay? And I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Okay? Oh boy, Mary Lou says, thanks for today. For today, my chain's going to make sure I don't forget anything from my trip to Mexico tomorrow. Make a list, Mary Lou. Make a list. And go down and check it. And then you'll sleep better knowing that you've checked everything off on your list. And have a great time. You're going to have to fly over California to get to Mexico. So wave when you go over. Okay? Wave when you go over. And thank you for taking time to join. When you've got so much on your plate. Have the best time ever. And hopefully we'll know all about it when you come back, okay? I will see you guys next week. And have a great day. Do something today. Do something today. Change one thing today that will make you sleep better tonight. Okay?